in Auburn. With Coach Jay, here's the voice of Auburn women's basketball, Britt Bowen.
Exciting news for Auburn women's basketball as we get started in 2023. For the first time in 3 years, the weekly coaches show is back. Tonight, we introduce the Coach Jay Show on location from Baumhower's Victory Grill. War Eagle and Happy New Year. Welcome into the very first edition of the Coach Jay Show with on-site producer Wes Todd. I'm Britt Bowen. We have an exciting show planned for you tonight. Coach Jay will join us for 2 segments to get us started. The Tigers are 10-4 after matching last year's win total by December 20th. It's been a tough start to Southeastern Conference play, and we'll talk through the Tigers' trip to Oxford at yesterday's SEC home opener against Missouri. In the offseason, Coach Harris added associate head coach Fred Williams to her staff. Coach Fred spent the 2022 season as the interim head coach of the LA Sparks. He'll join us for segment 4, and a pair of special guests will join us in the bottom of the hour. Preseason All-SEC selection Aicha Coulibaly, along with freshman Kharyssa Richardson. And the Tigers are scheduled for their toughest test today, Thursday night, as they travel to number 1 South Carolina on Thursday. Sunday, the Tigers are back at home to host Alabama at Neville Arena at 5 Central. Coach Jay joins us to set up a big week for Auburn women's hoops. Stay tuned. We're back with Coach Jay as the Coach Jay Show from Baumhower's Victory Grill continues in a moment. And we welcome you back to Baumhower's Victory Grill in Auburn, Alabama for the Coach Jay Show. How about this crowd tonight at Baumhower's Victory Grill as Coach Jay takes the stage for the very first time? Coach War Eagle, Happy New Year.
War Eagle, Happy New Year.
Well, let's take a step back, going all the way back to the preseason. I know we got to dig back into memories for this conversation, but look, a lot happened in the offseason. I mean, you're talking about the big transition from year 1 to year 2, and first off, Coach, you have to talk about the newcomers, the 6 newcomers that you brought to this team. And, I mean, thinking back to last spring, you were excited about this team as soon as the SEC tournament ended a season ago, and now you got them on campus. Coach, what's been the first 6 months like with this group as you developed this class of newcomers?
It's been really good, and I always have to say it started with the players that returned. They went to work. And by the time we got those new players in, they were able to just fit in and mesh with the returners. But our returners, I was really excited about the work they put in the off season.
Yeah.
And then when the summer came and those newcomers came, they just fit right in with them.
Yeah, that core group, Honesty Scott Grayson, Aicha Coulibaly, who we'll talk to later tonight. But, Coach, you also get Romy Levy back. And Romy's a player that had to watch last season from the sidelines. She was coming back from an ACL. And then you throw in the lights of Marshawn, Sanaya Precious, and Carson as well. I mean, that group right there, that's your glue.
Absolutely. And like I said, all those kids, they focused on getting bigger, faster, stronger in the postseason. So they had a good postseason, a good summer, and a really good preseason. So, and we're seeing the effects of that.
The newcomers, Coach, talk about this incoming class as they've come in. And you started 3 freshmen the very first ball game this year against Sam Houston. And Wes Todd and I was looking back. That's the first time that's ever happened for Auburn women's basketball. 3 freshmen in the starting lineup in a season opener.
You know, just that whole group, they're just tough. They're physical. They're aggressive. They play my style. You know, we focused on going out, getting players that play our style. And that entire group, they just fit in. But they're competitive, and they want to win. And so they just went out, they competed, and, they earned their spots.
Folks, want to apologize. Having some technical difficulties back in our station, FM Talk 93.9 FM. Working on getting our automation system to be in sync with us tonight. The first show in 3 years. No, you're going to have a couple of miscues, but for us tonight, again, we will be on the air. Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live and also on auburntigers.com and the Auburn Athletics app. We're going to take a break and see if we can get these streaming issues figured out. Stay with us. We'll have Coach Jay right back after this on the Auburn Sports Network. And we welcome you back to Baumhower's Victory Grill out on Bent Creek Road in Auburn. Sorry about the technical difficulties tonight. Again, this crowd tonight, stellar here at Baumhower's. Coach, I see a table. Of course, we've got our staff. Alex Stewart, obviously, she's a little louder than everybody. But looking around, I've got some players. I see Romy. I see Carson. AC stopped by a moment ago. An is here, and Sydney Shaw's popped in back there. All right, we got a good crowd. Is this going to be the crowd every Monday night, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Every Monday night. So digging back into Auburn's off-season, Coach, you added a big piece to your coaching staff, associate head coach Fred Williams. You're talking about a coach that's got 40 years of coaching experience. He's a former head coach of USC in Southern California and also spent 10 years with head coaching experience in the WNBA. Coach, that's a heck of a resume to bring to your coaching staff.
Absolutely, and I have a lot of respect for Coach Fred. I always have. When I first got here, got my first coaching job, he was always calling me, encouraging me, just a really good person to bounce things off of, and he even better to have on my staff.
What's the impact been for him this year on your staff and implementing your style of play, particularly on the defensive side of the floor where he spends so much time running in practice.
Absolutely, but he has really good chemistry with our players. You see him sitting over there at the table with the players. He has really good chemistry. They're bought into him.
Yeah.
They play really hard for him, and that's really, really important when you're playing our style of ball. So I just think that, we're on the same page as far as pressing, getting after people, playing hard the entire game. So he's just a great fit.
10-2 in the non-conference schedule, Coach. Take me through the thought process and just the philosophy and how you all built this schedule for year 2 in your program.
Well, we wanted to have some competition, but at the same time, we knew we were going to have some young players coming in, so we needed to be able to get them some minutes, to get some players to be able to work through some things to implement our system, because our system is different than it was last year. We have new players, different style of players, so you really are starting to see our style of play.
And I thought it was a good schedule. I mean, you got Georgia Tech at home, a team that you upset last year in Atlanta, a top 25 win. And that was a big one. That was the first key marquee win. But although you didn't get the result this year, I thought that game was the first true test for your team this year. And it was a good wake-up call just to let them know, hey, what's about to come January, and already, I mean, we've seen how those games can help you prepare.
It was, and it showed our younger kids how competitive they have to be night in and night out, how they have to prepare. And I thought that showed when we went to Vegas on that trip, and we had to play a very good Indiana team, and I thought we played them tough, came down to, us having a foul, and then also Colorado State, who we were able to pull out.
Yeah, and that was a turning point for your ball club in many ways. Number one, playing great competition, but number two, you had to battle through some adversity with what happened to Kharyssa. And, I mean, she was down on the floor 45 minutes, and then you still found the way to come back, win that game. And how about honesty, Scott Grayson knocking down the clutch free throw to win it? I mean, that's the player you want at the line in that situation.
Absolutely, but not just knocking down the play. I put the ball in her hands. I moved her to point guard, put the ball in her hands, and she made play after play after play. She didn't score all those plays, but she made those plays.
One of my favorite things about non-conference plays, I was thinking back, I was looking at all the different games. I mean, you look up and down the roster, it seems like every player on the roster had a big marquee moment, at least individually, just to get them going for the season. I mean, you look at Romy and the double-double that she had to get her going, and then Duhan had the big game rebounding. Sydney Shaw went off against Louisiana shooting the 3-ball. Kharyssa's had several games where she scored 8 or 9 points. Marshawn hit her first 3. Scored a career-high 9 the other night at Ole Miss. I mean, up and down the lineup, and we're going to get to Ja'Kayla Johnson. Wait on her. We're going to talk about her on Missouri. But up and down the lineup, you're seeing kids from top to bottom contribute, and that's big, especially it's going to help you win ball games, which it has this year.
It is big, and, we built that team that way. We want people to not be able to prepare for one person. They have, if you prepare and try to stop one person, somebody else can go off, and at any different time, it could be anybody. So that's the way we wanted to build our team, and we're getting better and better at that. They're so unselfish. Our team is unselfish. They share the ball really well. They're learning to put people in positions to do what they do best, and that's really exciting for me. And I just think this ball club is going to get better and better. The more they play together, the more they stick together, I think they'll get better and better.
What's been the identity of this team in your eyes? Because through the first 10 to 12 games or so, I thought it was defense. But right now, again, you're kind of at that crossroads right now where you're going to go through some growing pains to get on the right track that you need to. But what is the identity of this team right here today in the month of January?
I just think it's toughness. I think it's resilience. And, this team, we took a tough loss at Ole Miss, but they were able to come back and have one of the best practices. They didn't want to lose that game. They wanted to, compete in that game. So they came back. They realized their flaws. They came back and just practice hard. We had the best practice we had all season. And, I just think this team keep bouncing back from adversity. And so I just, that takes toughness. And so that's what we're trying to build our team on: tough, hard-nosed, aggressive, a physical basketball team.
You've had some pretty good crowds at Neville Arena this year. You won 8 in a row at home heading into SEC play. And returning from Las Vegas again, I think that's when this team hit their stride. Coach, how important has those crowds been at home and having that fan support this year? Because you can see it every night in Neville Arena. There's an improvement from last year.
They're very important, and I can tell when we were coming back last night, the crowd was in it. It was getting loud. That's very important, especially when you have a young ball club that's trying to find themselves. That's like your sixth man out there, so that is very important. We really appreciate our crowd.
10-2 in the non-conference. Couple big things happened over the break between non-conference play and SEC play. Number one, Owen Damola Akinbalawa joined the team on December 14th, made her debut against North Florida. Coach, take us through that transition, adding her to the roster, which, by the way, is the second player that you've been able to add mid-season in consecutive years for you.
Yeah, and, she comes in at a really hard time, but Owen is she's a big physical post player. She is learning our system. We have the luxury of being able to take our time with her, but she's in the gym. She's, getting extra work. She was in with Coach D today. You have a kid that's hungry, that want to play. She's learning our defensive scheme as well as our offensive scheme, and that's a lot. Yeah. So, but I think, she'll get it, and, she's going to be a big part of what we do the rest of the season.
And then lastly, when you come back from break, you award Carson McFadden a scholarship. Carson was surprised at practice. Folks, if you haven't seen the video on social media of the team celebrating Carson and Carson being told by our coaching staff, looking up. It's an emotional video. It's an exciting video, and I know the Auburn family was happy for her and also happy for her family who comes to a lot of basketball games.
Yeah, and Carson absolutely deserved it. She earned it. I didn't give it to her. She earned it. She's been a leader for us. Yeah. Our players really respect her. She's bought into our players, into our team. She gives of herself. She's a very unselfish person, and, she works hard. She don't take a play off at practice. So, and you can see she's getting better and better. I'm able to put her in ball games. She doesn't hurt us. As a matter of fact, she plays hard and kind of elevate our level of play. So
he got that big and one against. I think it was against Sanford, right, late in the non-conference play.
Yeah, but I was also excited about the charge she took, because that takes guts to stand in there and give your body up and take that charge. So I was super excited about that.
A little banged up going into SEC play. AC missed the last three non-conference games, and then she comes back for Ole Miss. Honesty's unavailable for Ole Miss and Missouri. And Wes Todd and I were talking, Coach, it had been 5 games, or it's been 5 games since both Honesty and AC were in the lineup. The last time they played together, December 11th, where Auburn recorded their back-to-back 40-point wins over UCF and Louisiana. And look, playing good basketball right now overall, but it's pretty evident. I mean, those two, they're two key pieces, and Auburn's at their best when they're healthy.
Absolutely, and, it was really hard. It takes away some of your chemistry because those two play so well together. They play off each other. AC being able to deliver, Honesty being able to deliver, but also being able to create for so many different people. And she just have that calming effect on everybody on the floor when she's out there. So it's been really hard not having her out there. It was hard not having AC out there. Super excited to be able to get Honesty back when we do. Right now she's listed day to day. So, we're just taking our time. Waiting for her to get healthy and come back 100% or as close to 100% as possible.
Ole Miss is a tough place to play, tough place to start conference play coming off a holiday break. And they jumped on your team early, and it was just a combination of a lot of little things happening at once that just didn't go our way. And I thought, number one, Ole Miss got to the rim, and 2, on the other end for Auburn, shots weren't falling that night. And that was really, Coach, the first time since Georgia Tech where just the ball wasn't finding the basket that night.
Yeah, and I mean, we missed layups. We missed a lot of layups, but I thought we were really impatient in that game, but they did jump out on us. They're a really good team. Coach O does a really good job with them. They jumped out on us, and our kids did not find. We never did find our rhythm.
Yeah.
That was the first time we didn't have honesty in the ball game, and that was the first time in 3 games we had AC back.
Yeah.
So our chemistry, everything we've been doing was just kind of thrown off. And then you add into that a lot of our kids were late getting back from the Christmas break because of travel issues with the airlines, and some of them only practiced 1 day before we having to go to that ball game. So it was really tough. It was tough for our chemistry. But I tell you what, after that ball game, we had a really good meeting in our locker room, and they came back and they went to work. And I thought we were a lot better against Missouri. We still made some key mistakes. We still missed some shots that normally we make, but we played a lot tougher.
Yeah, that was a heck of a ball game with Missouri. Auburn fell 62-56 yesterday in the SEC home opener. 9 lead changes, 4 ties in that game, Coach. And I thought the number one takeaway from Auburn was how Ja'Kayla Johnson stepped up for Auburn. She started at the point yesterday. Coach, you moved Sydney Shaw over to the 2. First time we've seen that change officially this year. J.K. had one of her best games. To take us through that decision and how it played out.
Without honesty in the lineup, and Sydney really is probably more of a 2 than she is a point. J.K. is just that tough kid she'll do it all for you, and she'll do anything you ask her to do, and I just needed her to be solid. Eventually, I want her to get more and more comfortable. I've talked to her about getting more involved in our offense, but she's definitely capable of running the point. I've never seen her run the point, but, in practice, she did a really good job for us, and I just made a decision and went with it. My thought process was to move Sydney to the 2, so she didn't have to think so much because I really did need somebody over there that could make shots.
Man, and there were so many points in that game, and I thought one good coaching decision from Coach Pinchton, just one adjustment Missouri made was they switched from the man-to-man defense to that zone defense, and I thought that's where the struggles came for Auburn on the offensive end when they had the drought in the second quarter, and then that drought midway through the fourth. You cut it down to 4 points from 10, and that zone defense just too tough to handle in the end.
Yeah, it was a 3-point ball game, but we had unforced turnovers.
Yeah.
We were still getting stops, but we had unforced turnovers and quick shots, and we went away from things that we had been doing early. So that is a learning. We'll go through all of that. They had today off, but trust me, tomorrow they'll see all of that. We'll have a chance to teach from that, and hopefully we'll get better and do better.
Well, you needed a bucket down the stretch. You went to Aicha Coulibaly, and I thought she answered every time. She had a couple and-one plays that she just couldn't finish on through contact, but in the end, she was big at the free throw line. Auburn as a whole was big at the free throw line. That's what kept you in the ball game. Maya Pratcher in particular as well.
Absolutely, and starting with AC, you can give her the ball. She's like I said, she's a player that's going to deliver for you, and we just tried to put her. They couldn't guard her in the paint. So she started out on the outside, but I moved her to the 4, and she was just a load down there for them. So I told her, you need to get foul, score, or both, and she absolutely did that. Maya Pratcher was big, not just rebounding, but also, just at the free throw line. She got to the free throw line. She played really good defense. She got that steal that led out to a bucket for AC. She's just long and athletic, and it's really hard to get around her, and she's quick. She's a quick jumper, so she was able to get to some boards that we weren't getting. We struggled rebounding yesterday, and so that's why I went with her.
Struggle and rebounding the first 2 SEC games, Coach. I know that's going to be a big point of emphasis as you progress against South Carolina and Alabama. Hey, how is that one of those things that you work on in practice? Because, again, it's one of those in-game situations that is hard to emulate day to day.
It is, but We work on rebounding. We have
Yeah.
several rebounding drills that we work on. So Coach Fred implement that in his practice. I even implement it in the offensive part of practice because we definitely want our kids to go to the offensive board, but we also need them to box out and be able to go to the defensive board as well. So, it's hard. It's one of those in-game things, but you work on it every day in practice.
Thought Auburn handled the press particularly well yesterday, Coach.
Putting AC in the middle of the press, it's hard to deal with her. They had 3 people up, and once you get her the ball in the middle, now it's 3-on-2 with her with the ball in the middle. So if they don't pick her up and they take the other 2, she gets to the rim. If they pick her up, she just has to make a good decision. And so I thought she did a really good job with that.
Tigers start SEC play on the road at Ole Miss and then at home against Missouri, looking for their first good result against the number 1 team in the country on Thursday night at South Carolina. Coach, just your overall outlook on the SEC and then just what you've seen through the first weekend of play so far.
The SEC is a tough conference.
Yeah.
But, you talking about going back to South Carolina, you're talking about a team that's been number 1 in the country for the last, 3 years and some in 4 years ago. So, they're a tough, resilient team.
Yeah.
All those kids were freshmen, and then some, she have some 5th and 6th year seniors on her team. So, and they're long, they're athletic. Sometimes they start 6'4" at the point. They'll have 6'4", 6'2", 6'3", and 6'7", or 6'5" and 6'7" in there. So, really long, athletic team. They're not giving. They're really stingy.
Yeah.
We're giving up points. You have to be able to make shots against them. So it'll be a tough test, but it'll be one that we'll have a game plan and we'll go in and, hopefully our shots will fall.
Well, we're going to dive deeper into it in the bottom of the hour. Coach Jay, we're going to let you take a break. Coming up on the Coach Jay Show, we've got Associate Head Coach Fred Williams joining us next. And then coming up bottom of the hour also, Aicha Coulibaly and Kharyssa Richardson joining us here on the Coach Jay Show. Stay with us here on the Auburn Sports Network.
Level with custom apparel screen printed right here in Auburn. We have a huge selection of brands like Comfort Colors, Gildan, and Bella Canvas. And at Master Graphics, you work with our in-house artists to bring your vision to life. Let our team help make your business, school event, or family gathering a success with custom apparel from Master Graphics. Stop by and see us today at 175 South Gay Street or give us a call at 887-8755.
Through the years, friends and family have enjoyed the great taste of Shrimp Basket's mouth-watering po' boys, fish, crab claws, burgers, and so much more. While our menu is constantly changing, we are still serving up the best shrimp baskets with the goal of offering an enjoyable, affordable service to each and every one of our guests.
Wow. After all these years.
Still eating at the Shrimp Baskets.
And eating shrimp baskets.
Visit shrimpbasket.com to locate one of our many Shrimp Basket locations.
Red Diamond Coffee has been a local favorite for over 100 years, and now you can enjoy the perfect cup of coffee at TK's convenience stores. That's right, stop by any one of your local 17 TKs for Red Diamond Coffee. Red Diamond is brewed right here in Alabama and made with carefully chosen beans and only selected from the finest regions to bring you the best cup of coffee to get you through your day. Stop by any one of your local 17 TK's convenience stores today and pick yourself up a cup of Red Diamond Coffee. TK's convenience stores, always there when you need us.
And we welcome you back to Baumhower's Victory Grill out on Big Creek Road as Britt Bowen here joined by Associate Head Coach Fred Williams. Fred, you got a big cheering section out here in front.
Well, War Eagle, yes, I got a great section here, but Coach Jay brought them in here.
All right.
So I followed her here.
All right, so that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes.
That's a great trend. See, you should be co-hosting this show with me because that was a heck of a segue you got right there.
Really?
Heck of a segue because Coach Jay contacted you after your time with the LA Sparks came to an end, and she reached out to you with an opportunity to come to the Plains and join what she's building here in year 2 with Auburn women's basketball. Tell us more about that decision that you and your family made to make this this transition to the Plains.
Well, I just felt it was the right feeling for me, having known Coach Jay and seen her over the years coaching and have an opportunity to come here to try to help make a difference. I spent 25 years in the WNBA. It's been great. I felt that I wanted to get back in collegiate basketball, and she was one of the coaches that contacted me, and we had a great conversation about things. And I was supposed to have been back here way back in July, but I had to wait for a little bit and come here way in August.
Well, tell us more about your home life. Where's home? Where'd you grow up, and where do you call home today?
I grew up in Inglewood, California.
Okay, so it's a little bit of a culture shock for you being back in the. But hey, you spent some time with Atlanta though, right?
Yes, I spent a lot of time in Atlanta with the Atlanta Dream for about 6-7 years. Also with in Tulsa and the Dallas area. But my journey started in Utah with the Utah Stars back in the day, which is now the Las Vegas Aces. And but it's been 43 years of all women's basketball, and I'm very proud of it.
Well, tell us about your family. I know you have a beautiful wife, 5 children, and a couple of grandkids as well.
Yes, they keep me busy, especially the grandbabies now. They control everything when I see them on holidays. The wife, she might show up here in a few minutes because she hears the voice on the radio. So
that's the way to do it.
She's going to find me somewhere. So she's going to come on over, and but she's very supportive of women's basketball and women's sports.
All right, so take us back. Let's circle back into Auburn. You and Coach Jay, I know you have been in the basketball world for, 40 years, it seems.
Hey, look out now. Wait. Okay.
And that's a compliment, though. You've earned your stripes at every level. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
I think
it's something that you want in your career, to have a couple of national championships at Southern Cal back in the day, and then having been a WNBA, having 3 final appearances there, and about 12 to 16 NCAA appearances before I got into the pros.
So for you and Coach Jay, though, where in your journey, where did y'all first cross paths in your career? What year? What team were you with?
I was in Dallas,
okay.
And she was actually on the floor getting ready for a championship game. So I was in Dallas area, and that's where I ran across her, and it was a brief passing. But the main thing, she's really contacted me by phone, and we just talk back and forth. Some of the colleagues that are coaching in this conference kind of recommended me to her, and she followed suit, and we just connected that way.
One of the first things she told me about you, and one thing that she really liked, is that you two have similar defensive philosophies. Coach, explain that philosophy, or just the basic principles that those haven't heard it before.
Well, the basic principle is just come out and play hard 100%, 110%, and, get after it from in-line to in-line, play 40 minutes hard. Practices should be the hardest thing. The game should be a little easy for you. But our things is we're going to get in your face, deny you the basketball, cause turnovers, and just be relentless.
Well, one of the things that you all have been teaching this year and teaching it from every step of the way, and it's been a multi-step process that I want you to take us through, is teaching charges. That's something that this team has taken ownership of. I think we've seen at least half the roster take a charge this year, if not more, Coach. So how did that come about, and what's that been like teaching this team how to properly take that charge to change a ball game?
Well, that's something that, Coach Jay wants done every day, in practice, and that's what we, put in the practice plan to take charges. We spent about 2 to 3 minutes on it.
She's staring at us right now with a big
that's
smile,
something.
too.
She gets fired up with the charges now. That's the charges. You take about 4 or 5 charges, you're doing something there. But we take great pride of that, and then block shots.
Yeah.
We don't teach it, but the young ladies are very good to jumping up and blocking shots.
And top 10 in the country right now in blocking shots.
Absolutely.
And you can see that how that's changing. The identity of this team, because I told Coach Jay, I thought the identity of this team was the defense. I mean, because the offense was being created by Auburn's defense in transition.
Well, we want to, kind of have that motto that our defense creates the offense. Getting steals, go to the other end and convert. And, anytime you can do that, you put pressure on any opponent that you go against. And, we fear no one, so we don't go out and play hard.
This is very comical to me, and I hope you think so as well. So I had someone come up to me and say, hey, the new head coach, Coach Williams, tell me about him. Is he good? I was like, yeah, he's awesome. He runs our practice. He runs our defense. He's incredible. They said, hey, on the bench, he seems to be pretty quiet. I said, well, that's just Coach Fred. I said, because Coach Fred, that's just his mannerism. He always gets it done. Coach, take me through that philosophy and just how you connect with players during games. Because, again, you're not a big emotional guy. You don't wear that on your shoulders. You're more subdued. And, Coach, you tell it how it is. You get to the point.
Yeah, I mean, your practices, you get a lot in of teaching and stuff. Game time should be where you let the, as I call them, the artists that are out there, let them do their performances. For me, I kind of observe a lot. I do say some things in a manner before the players go out back to the floor, but that's Coach J's time. I don't want to really overshadow and talk over what she's trying to do. And so for me, it's just studying the game, putting it in the players' ears what we need to do and tweak some things, and it makes a big difference at times.
And one thing about Coach Fred, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, is every time I see Coach Fred, whether it be in his office, on the road, having breakfast, or if it's just getting ready for practice, Coach, you're always scouting, you're always preparing, you're always writing something, you're watching film, you're doing something. Where'd that work ethic come from as a coach here in basketball?
Well, it's from household. I had to do something. I had to wash the dishes, take out the trash. No, it comes from just really just studying the game. There's always something that you can find that could make a difference. For a steal, a play. I'm always trying to find that little instrumental thing there that's out of bounds that you can get. If you can find about 5 or 6 of those things during a game, that can turn the ball game around.
Spent some time at USC, both as an assistant coach and a head coach, and won 2 national titles in '83 and '84. Coach Cheryl Miller, which I thought was incredible when I saw that. Coach, just take me through back that time at USC and how that prepared you to take this job, to step back into the college game this year after so many years in the WNBA.
Yeah, it's those years have been assistant coach there, and Linda Sharp was the head coach back there in '83 and '84 when we won that back-to-back titles. Cheryl Miller's a player. Cynthia Cooper was another guard, and the McGee twins, post players. But when Cheryl took over years later, she asked me to come back to SC with her, and I did for a few years, and we had a great time. Great legend of the game to today. We still have a great conversation of things, and it's just good that we shared that together. That's something that no one can ever take away from us.
Well, Coach Fred, we appreciate you being here at Auburn and leading this Tiger defense, and looking forward. We got a heck of a month ahead of us, Coach, and it's going to be a fun 2 months of basketball.
It's going to be a great month. I mean, this is like the second season. I said the first season was the preseason. Yeah. Now we get in second season. The third season is tournament. They move on.
Tigers Associate Head Coach Fred Williams. Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you, War Eagle.
Coming up on the Coach J Show in the next segment, we have Aicha Coulibaly and Kharyssa Richardson. They join us next here on the Coach J Show on the Auburn Sports Network.
This interlude is brought to you by Tiger Iron Gym. Get fit.
Open 365 days, 24/7, located on South College Street in Auburn.
Hey, I'm John Harden.
And I'm Brian Watts, and we're with Southeastern Land Group.
We are realtors that specialize in selling land-centric properties throughout the Southeast.
From mini farms, homes with land, hunting, recreational tracts, to timberland investment properties, we can walk you through the process of selling your land and help you get top value, or help you purchase that special tract of land that your family will enjoy for generations to come.
For more information, visit our website at selandgroup.com. To reach John, call 334-524-2756.
And to reach Brian, call 334-707-4273.
And remember, invest, grow, and conserve.
Changing seasons? Time to start thinking about your heating system. Gas furnace owners, heat exchanger and limits should be checked regularly for your family's safety. Have a heat pump? Ensure your unit is running properly so you don't have to rely on expensive heat strips to warm your home. Need a new system? Call Steve to help you find the perfect system for your needs. Serving the heating and cooling needs of Lee County and the surrounding areas since 1968. May Refrigeration makes sure your unit is ready for winter. Call 745-COLD so you don't have to be. May Refrigeration and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store is the perfect place to find whatever you are looking for. Mission Thrift has an abundance of treasures just waiting for you to find. Antique furniture, classic books, brand name clothing, and so much more. Also, don't forget you can look your best for the big game this year with Auburn or Alabama gear that won't cost you a fortune. Stop by Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store today at 2051 East University Drive in Auburn. Open Tuesday to Saturday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m.
Back live at Baumhower's Victory Grill out on Bent Creek Road in Auburn. Britt Bowen here, joined by Aicha Coulibaly and Kharyssa Richardson up here with us on the 5th segment of the Coach Jay Show. Ladies, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right. What's it like being up here on live on AC? I guess it's helpful if I turn your mic up, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was Kharyssa's job, and she didn't do it, so I'm going to blame that one on her.
Here we go.
I've got competition because Kharyssa says she wants to take my job. Between Kharyssa and Carson McFadden, I mean, I've got a lot of people gunning for me up here right now. All right. So, ladies, take me back. Your decisions to come to Auburn. AC, I know this is your 3rd year in the program. Take me back to your high school days coming in. You were at IMG Academy. What stood out about Auburn back in those days?
Auburn was a family-oriented team. You know, I like everything about the coaches. I wasn't recruited by Coach Jay, but, you know, the previous coaches, it was a pretty good, you know, I saw their play, and then the way they play aggressive, physical, and then that was the type of talent I had, and I knew I could explore more on it coming to Auburn, and that was the best choice I ever made.
And Kharyssa, you were the opposite. You were recruited by Coach Jay. You were a part of that first big recruiting class for her and Coach D. What drew you to this staff and your teammates like AC?
I would say when I took all of my visits, Auburn, it was between Auburn and Georgia Tech. I knew when I had a phone call with Coach Harris that I was going to commit here. I got on campus. I said all I had to do was see the campus and see the locker room, the facilities, what everything was about, and I knew I was going to commit right off the bat.
AC, you're coming off a dominant year, 2nd team All-SEC selection. How did you use that as motivation, and what did you do to get better this offseason to prepare you for your junior season?
Oh, yeah. It was a lot, you know, coming from my sophomore year, like I had an outbreak, you know, it was a big year for me. And I knew people were going to scout me a lot. I had to work on different things to get better, you know, be a better version of myself coming into this year. And I feel like I've been doing a great job, you know, leading the team, you know, helping my teammates get there, like, you know, knowing how hard it is and, like, how hard we got to work to get there. I work on my game, you know. I watch a lot of film and see my mistakes and stuff and try to correct them.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to point out was when I talked to Coach Jay in September, October, I asked her how everybody was doing, and AC, she said the younger classmen came in and they kind of put a spark in the upperclassmen just because everybody was motivated, and this freshman class came in and challenged you guys. What was that like from your perspective?
Oh, I was really happy about the challenges. Like, their faces really good. Like, I was impressed about their, like, how they were, like, taking everything, adversity, like, when it hit. And then they were working really hard together. They knew the challenge, and they took it right away as soon as they landed in Auburn.
Now, Kharyssa, you had to come in. You had to get acclimated as a freshman. Had some key players on this team already established. AC, and honesty, you have the senior Sanaya Wells, and even Romy coming back from injury. What was it like coming in and getting acclimated with your new teammates, as well as Precious Johnson, who you're competing against for a starting job?
Coming in, I knew this is nothing like high school. You know, high school, I was the star player. But I knew once you get to college, everything is different. Mm-hmm. But I knew that I had to work to get to where I am now. And I still have to continue to work to get to where I am. But at the same time, I'm not going to let anybody come in and take my spot.
Yeah, and one thing about that, Kharyssa, you didn't do that, and you were one of 3 freshmen to start the season opener. And you started, a handful of games, close to 10 this year, and my math is off. I don't have the stats in front of me, but that's impressive coming in. You fit right into this system. And what about your game has allowed you to do that, to fit this Auburn women's basketball style of play?
I feel like just being physical and aggressive. Oh, my bad. Being physical and aggressive, that was my main thing that Coach Jay said that I was. I just knew that coming into this conference that I would have to have those abilities going against the teams we were going against.
Number one thing that you have to do under Coach Jay, and I want both of you to talk about this, is you have to have the ability to play multiple positions. AC, you're one, you've bounced around in your time just in the last 3 years from the 3, the 4, and the 5. What's that like for you, having to learn all those positions in this style of play for Coach Jay?
I just knew I would have to do that at some point, like coming to college, like my size and then like my ability to do stuff. I just put it in my mind, I just got to put the work in. And it wasn't really hard for me to switching positions because I was already used to it, coming to college. I just ease my way into it. I don't really care what position I play in. I just make sure I do my job right and knowing the plays and stuff.
And how about you in terms of your favorite position? What's your natural position where you feel you excel the most out on the floor?
I would say the 4.
The 4?
Yeah.
What is it about the 4? What allows you to be more involved at that position?
I feel like the 4 do a lot on our team. You got to give a lot to the team.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was ready for it. And I have big guards guarding me. And whenever I have little guards guarding me, I can push them up. It was just an easy job for me, like running down the floor and be physical with them. I don't really mind contact at all.
And Kharyssa, you're at the 5 this year. And I know that's not your natural position. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So what position did you transfer from or transition to play in the 5? And how did that conversation initially go with Coach Jay when she asked you to do that?
So coming from high school, I was playing everywhere. It wasn't really structured because I was doing a lot. But when I had a conversation with Coach Jay, she let me know that I would be playing the 4 and the 5. Once I got here, things were a little different because of how aggressive I was. So I did have to play the 5, which I am okay with. But I also want to expand my game. And we also had those talks about expanding. And because she said I'm not a one-dimensional player.
What has been your biggest learning curve so far this year as you get into SEC play? As you can see the speed of play a little bit different in January compared to November and December.
Oh, yes. It's totally different. I go back to saying, like, in high school, the game is just it's not as fast.
Yeah.
And I can see that in non-conference games. Some teams did push us to our speed. And now that I see in the SEC, the things are moving faster than what I expected.
AC, you were the 3rd player in Auburn history to come from Africa. On December 14th, Owendamola Akinbalawa became the 4th, and you two were teammates.
Yep.
What was that like, having a player with a similar background join you this season, mid-season, and how have you two bonded and kind of helped her acclimate a bit?
She's really sweet. I really love her. It's amazing having somebody coming from the motherland. I'm trying to be a big sister to her and help her out, with the plays, like how to adjust to the system and everything. Because I had a different, I played in high school here. I know a lot about it. And I'm trying to, get her going with the team so she can be the best she can.
All right, I got a couple quick questions I'm going to ask you to just fire off a quick answer to round us out here. All right, who's the funniest player on the team?
Me.
Yeah. AC, is AC really the funniest player on the team?
Ask them.
Okay.
I'm the funniest. I don't even try hard, but Kharyssa be trying hard.
All right. Well, you can't say yourselves on that. All right. Who's the mom of the team? Is there anybody kind of points everybody, make sure everybody's one place on time? I've got my suggestion, but I don't know.
I would say Carson is the mom.
That was my suggestion.
Yeah, I was about to say Carson.
Carson's straight laced. She's getting everybody ready to go to practice. All right. Best dancer on the team.
Aicha.
Girl.
Honestly can dance, actually.
I've seen On dance a little bit.
Honestly
can dance. You would be my vote. All right.
The high point should be killing it.
All right. Last one. Best Coach Jay impression. Who's got the best Coach Jay impression?
Can I say the word?
Can I say all 4? Is it 4?
Say it. You got
physical, hard-nosed, tough, aggressive.
All right. If y'all get in trouble, that was not my fault. Ladies and gentlemen, Aicha Coulibaly and Kharyssa Richardson here joining us on the Coach Jay Show. We have got one more segment coming up. We've got to preview South Carolina and then the Alabama Crimson Tide coming to town next Sunday. Stay with us here on the Coach Jay Show and the Auburn Sports Network.
Peak Insurance is your local independent insurance agency and a proud supporter of Auburn University athletics. As an independent agent, Peak provides competitive rates from top insurance carriers around the country. Conveniently located at 1147 Opelika Road, Peak Insurance can help you navigate the complex world of insurance plans. From commercial to personal coverage, bonds, and life insurance, Peak is on your team. Peak Insurance, 334-407-7032 or peakinsurance.com. Peak coverage, peak service, Peak Insurance.
You focus on your dream house, we will focus on making it come true. The home buying process is so much easier when you rely on Mid-South Bank for your total mortgage needs. Whether you are considering buying a home, building a home, or simply wish to refinance an existing home loan, talk with us today. We don't expect you to have all the answers. That's our job. At Mid-South, you will find mortgages with a human touch. Visit us at 519 East Glen Avenue in Auburn or online at bankmidsouth.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Come in and get it out of your system. The Car Stereo Shop.
Hey, it's Steve, and here's a message to anyone thinking about upgrading your sound system. Now's the time. We are moving, and I don't want to move all this inventory. The message is short and sweet. There will be crazy deals and deep discounts throughout the store until it's all gone. Quality products at wholesale pricing right here in Auburn. Come by the store at 1914 Opelika Road and see what the Car Stereo Shop has for you.
Energy-efficient heat pumps, dual fuel units, and mini splits will help lower your power bills and keep you comfy. Multiple options are nice. Your electric cooperative understands they can also be overwhelming. That's why our energy experts are here to help you decide which heating and cooling system is best for you. Contact us today. Tallapoosa River Electric Cooperative, always here for you.
Final segment of the first edition of the Coach Jay Show out at Baumhower's Victory Grill in Auburn, Alabama. Coach, it has been one heck of a night here at Baumhower's. We have the Three Stooges, I would say, sitting right here in front of you. We've been getting a lot of faces, a lot of hand motions, a little bit of everything right in front of us here. Who we got? Is that Duhan, On, and Sid right there?
Yeah, Duhan, On, Sid,
all right.
Kharyssa, AC.
Oh, we
you got
those
Romy
two,
over there. You got Carson over there. So,
all right, who's the biggest goofball of that bunch that we
Duhan.
Duhan. Yeah. I Duhan. She got on the bus the other night. She said the first thing, like, man, I am hungry. I need some food. And I was
she
like,
is the
that's Duhan.
Kid I've ever seen, and the smallest.
All right. Well, I don't want to get Duhan mad at me because, again, when she has a big game, I'm going to need to talk to her on the Regions Bank postgame show. I don't need her denying any interviews, so I'm going to be nice in the rest of the night. All right, so we got two big games coming up. All right, number one, South Carolina on Thursday. Talked a little bit about them in the previous segment. Gamecocks are 13-0, 1-0 in the SEC, and they're currently playing Georgia as we speak in Stegman Coliseum tonight, Coach. And well, so what's it like scouting Don Staley and the Gamecocks? I know that is a daunting task. And, hey, our luck this year, we get them not once but twice thanks to the SEC.
Yeah, hey, it's get to play the number one team in the country twice. They're big. They're physical. They're athletic. But, right now Georgia is playing really well with them. Georgia is also an experienced team. They have some transfers coming in. They have a fifth-year senior that played for me at Texas. So they're a tough team as well. But, South Carolina is big. Yeah. They're strong. They're physical. They are very skilled offensively. They're the total package. There's a reason they're the number one team in the country. They have depth. They have a bench full of All-Americans. And they're very well coached.
Checking the Yellowwood scoreboard quickly here. Georgia actually up 29-26 on the Gamecocks at the half in Stegman, which brings me to the point. I was going to ask this later. I'll go and ask it now. Their two losses, South Carolina, in the last calendar year have come in the SEC. Missouri in the regular season last year, their only regular season loss, and then Kentucky stunned them in the SEC tournament championship game. Now, Kentucky, not fair. You got Ryan Howard. All right, so eliminate Kentucky. I'm just joking with my buddies up in Kentucky, but Missouri, though, going back to that film, I mean, Missouri proved, hey, I mean, you show up, you hit shots like you talked about earlier. Now, you got to be efficient, but you can't compete with them. It's going to take the perfect game to do it, though.
Absolutely. You have to be tough. You have to hit shots. You can't be afraid. You have to box out. Yeah. So you have to be solid. You have to follow your game plan and do the little things that it would take to beat a team like that.
When they rank in the top 10 in the country in just about every statistical category out there on the offensive and the defensive end. So when you talk about efficiency, Coach, there's just not many cracks in this team. There's not many things that you can exploit. So just from a game planning perspective, how do you approach that?
You know, you just have to go out and you have to be yourself.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid. You have to attack that pressure with pressure. They are long, they're physical, they're aggressive, but I've had teams to go into South Carolina and knock them off. You know, as the last time was 2018 when we were at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
We went there, and we had already secured the SEC championship, and then if they beat us, they would share it.
Yeah.
And we had to go in there to beat them.
You won it outright.
To win it outright, and we did that. So we've won in that building a couple of times since they've been on the rise. So it can be done. Is it tough? It is very tough, but it's not impossible.
Aaliyah Boston and Zaya Cook on the roster still, and with them winning the national championship last year, I think it's safe to say they're the odds-on favorite to do it again this year. Are they better? Is there any way that they are better from last year to this year?
I think they're better. I think all those juniors last year are now seniors. The seniors from last year, a lot of them came back, so they have 6-year seniors. Well, not a lot, but a couple came back. So they have 6-year seniors. They have 5th-year seniors. They have juniors, and they have a really good, sophomore and freshman class. So they are deep. When one person is not doing it for Don, she can go and get somebody else or somebody else.
All right, we've got a big one in Neville Arena on Sunday at 4 o'clock Central. All right, everybody that's sitting in Baumhower's Victory Grill, everybody listen up, everybody listening on the app, everybody listening on AuburnTigers.com, we need you in Neville Arena on Sunday wearing orange and blue. We need a big crowd as the Alabama Crimson Tide comes to town. And, Coach, I make no mistake about it. It's time. It's time to get a result against Alabama.
It is time to get that result. We'll definitely have our team prepared. We need for the crowd to be there and be live and help us get through this.
And this is why my on-site producer is sitting next to me. I was just informed it's all Auburn, all orange. So the orange that Coach Jay and I are wearing right now, we got to have it on Sunday, Coach. And this Alabama team is good. They're 12-3, 1-1 in the SEC, coming off a loss against Tennessee. Number one thing they have right now, 5 returning starters from last year. Brittany Davis, top 15 in the country in three-point attempts. Kids can line it up from anywhere, shooting 44% from the field.
Yeah, and they have several kids that's shooting it really well now. They have transfers in there as well. So they are a really good team. They're deep. But Sunday night, we need you. We'll have our team prepared. We're ready to go to war.
All right, quickly, Christy Curry's style of play. She's been in the SEC for 10 years. You've seen her time and time again at Mississippi State, and this will be your 4th time that you've seen her in Auburn. Is Auburn at her 3 times last year?
Absolutely, and we were in, as a matter of fact, we led a lot in all of those ball games. We were in all of those ball games. But this year, I think we have more of a team that can compete with them. I think we have the guard play. We have the inside play. But I thought we battled them last year, but this year we're definitely looking to get over the hump with that. They're an aggressive team.
Yeah.
They like to mix it up, man and zone. We'll be able to dissect that this year.
How about for Auburn in that zone? Struggled a little with the zone against Ole Miss and Missouri. How does that improve on Sunday against Alabama? It's on film. Teams are going to see it.
Yeah, we just got to get in the gym, and we did struggle those last couple of games, but there have been games when we knocked down 12. 3-pointers and when we are knocking down shots. So we'll get back to that. And, getting in the gym, over and over again, getting those reps, that breeds confidence. And when our kids are confident, they do a really good job. So we'll make sure that they're prepared.
Coach Shea, that's all the time we have tonight at Baumhower's. Appreciate the time. Looking forward to seeing you Thursday night.
This was a great night. War Eagle.
Our next broadcast is Thursday at 5:45 Central. The Tigers are at #1 South Carolina for 6 o'clock tip. Sunday, Auburn returns home to host Alabama for Central. Dr. Larry DeShera and I will be on the air at 3:45. 1 week from tonight, the Coach Jay Show returns to Baumhower's at 6. All women's basketball broadcasts, including the Coach Jay Show, can be heard on FM Talk 93.9 FM and online at auburntigers.com and the Auburn Tigers app. The general manager of the Auburn Sports Network is Ben Harling. The producer of the Coach Jay Show is Brad Law, and our studio engineer is Brooks Childress. On-site producer is Wesley Todd. For Coach Jay, Coach Fred Williams, Aicha Coulibaly, Kharyssa Richardson, Wes Todd, and Brooks Childress, I'm Rip Bowen. Good night, and War Eagle from Baumhower's Victory Grill.
You've been listening to the Coach Jay Show. Follow the Tigers on social media at Auburn WBB and at auburntigers.com. The Coach Jay Show is a presentation of the Auburn Sports Network and Tiger Communications.